Hello students, good morning. In today's class, we are going to start off with a new chapter, that is chapter number 4, planning. Okay, this chapter carries totally 7 marks. Okay, as I told you all before while discussing the first chapter itself, I told we are going to learn in detail about the functions of management. So this is the first and the foremost functions of management, that is nothing but planning. So in this chapter, you are mainly going to study the main importance of planning, definition and meaning of planning, importance of planning, features of planning, limitations, as well as the planning process and the types of plan. So planning, who is going to do the planning in the organization? That is nothing but the manager plays a very vital role in the organization, because that is the first and the foremost function of management, whereas he is the person who is going to do the schedules or plans which is for the future activities. So planning is very much important in the organization. A manager must plan before he organize or direct the control. Okay, it increases the sales and to earn profit. The main purpose of each and every organization is to achieve the organizational goal effectively and efficiently, as we studied in the nature of business of management, whereas it is very much important. Now coming to the definition as well as the meaning of planning. So here definition, according to Lewis Allen, he tells that management planning involves the development of forecast, objectives, okay, policies, programs, procedures, schedules and budget. So these are the things which are going to be planned before it is organized. So that is nothing but development of forecast, objectives, what is the main purpose of objective of the organization, then the policies which they have to follow, then the programs, okay, procedures, how and what procedures they are going to use, and schedules and as well as the budget. So achieve the target. So planning is very much important in the organization. Likewise in our day-to-day activity also, we plan and then proceed. So without planning we cannot proceed. So as well as in the organization also, planning plays a very important role. So coming to the meaning, you get this question for 2 marks. What do you mean by planning? What is planning? So planning is deciding in advance. Okay, planning is deciding in advance what to do, how to do, okay, who has to do the work and what purpose he has to do the work, and it involves setting of objects and target. Okay, it mainly focuses on setting of objects as well as the achieve the target, formulating an action plan to achieve them. So that is nothing but the formulating the action plan to achieve them. So each and every organization main purpose is to achieve the organizational goals, increase the sales and to earn profit. So likewise the manager here plays a very vital role, so that he is the person who does the planning in the organization, schedule what has to be done, who has to do the work and what is the main purpose of the organization that he has to do. So it is nothing but, in simple words we can put it as a blueprint. So before doing some work, they have done a blueprint like budget, target, what and how they have to do the work, and which department has to do what work is planned before. So now we are going to study about the importance of planning. So now we will discuss the importance of planning, whereas you get this question for 4 marks. Okay, so whereas this chapter carries totally 7 marks, whereas you get 1 4 marks question, 2 marks question as well as 1 mark question. Okay, now we will study the importance of planning. So the first and the foremost important of planning here is planning provides direction. So what do you mean by direction? So likewise I told you all before, planning is a process which is done before the work has to be scheduled. So it helps to give the direction to the employees what work they have to do. So as I told you all in the previous classes itself, there are groups in the organization, whereas you have production department, marketing department, sales department, isn't it? Finance department, HR department. So here, through planning, it provides the direction to the employees, like what objective of the organization is. So it helps the employees to get the proper direction to work effectively and efficiently in the organization. If planning is not done properly in the organization, then you cannot achieve the organizational goals effectively and efficiently. So it provides direction. The first most important of planning is it provides direction, what work has to be done, who has to do the work, and what are the purpose of the work, and with the target achieved. So the next foremost important here is it reduces the risk of uncertainty. So planning is done for the future aspects. So futuristic, it thinks about the future aspect and they do the planning. So it helps or reduces the risk, the uncertainty. Through planning itself, they plan accordingly that if some uncertainty or uncertainty programs happens in the organization, likewise natural calamities which occurs in the organization, likewise they have to be prepared for everything. So through planning they prepare for everything if anything happens in the organization. So it reduces the uncertainty of risk of uncertainty. So the third one here is it reduces overlapping and wasteful activities. Through planning, how it has been scheduled, as I told you all, it is a blueprint here. So through the blueprint only the work has to go on. So it reduces the overlapping of time of the employees. The employees, they cannot waste the time. Likewise the wasteful activities does not happen in the organization. So through the important of planning here is it reduces the overlapping as well as the wasteful activities in the organization, whereas it helps the employees to work effectively and efficiently in the organization. So the next one here is it promotes innovative ideas. Likewise, when the manager do the planning in the organization, it is full of intellectual thinking, isn't it? It is mental thinking which they have to plan, where he gets some more ideas through innovative ideas. Likewise, the dynamic changes happens in the organization. Likewise, he uses all those things and he tries to do some innovative things so that he can do better in the organization, whereas it helps the employees also to work effectively and efficiently in the organization. So the next one here is it facilitates decision making, whereas here planning will be done yearly or monthly or half yearly, it depends on the organization. So through previous action which is done, through previous plans, he can take those plans and see what all mistakes are done in the organization, so that he can take a decision making through policies. Okay, so it helps the organization or the management here to take proper decision making, like what policies they have to follow, what are the procedures they have to follow in the organization. So the next here is establish standard for controlling. As I told you all in the first class itself, so planning is so these are the functions of planning, that is nothing but planning, organizing, directing, staffing and controlling. So from the plan you do till the controlling is everything should be scheduled properly. So it gives the standard for controlling, where they have a proper standard plan for the planning. So where they can see that where the actual planning and the standard planning is equally balanced. So these are the main importance of planning. I repeat, first one here is planning provides direction. Okay, it provides direction to the employees work effectively and efficiently in the organization. If the planning is not done properly, then they cannot achieve the organizational goals. So the second one is it reduces the risk of uncertainty. So uncertainty cannot be predicted what happens tomorrow. So through planning it can reduce. We cannot eliminate uncertainty, but whereas we can reduce through planning. So third one is reduces overlapping and wasteful activities. Through planning in the schedules or the blueprint which they do, so it helps the organization through reducing the overlapping and wasteful activities in the organization of the employees. So the next one is promotes innovative ideas. Likewise, the manager who does the planning process, he gets many innovative ideas by change in the dynamic environment, whereas he can get through many ideas and help the planning in the organization. So next one is facilitates decision making. So it helps him to take a proper decision through policies, promotions as well as the produces which happens in the organization. So the next one is establish standard for controlling. As I told you all, it is a function of planning, so it helps the standard of controlling. Now we will go to the features of planning. Now we will discuss the features of planning, whereas this question also carries 4 marks. Okay, whereas in your midterm you might get this question for 8 marks, whereas in your final exam you get this question for 4 marks. So now we will discuss the features of planning. What are the features of planning here is, first one, planning focuses on achieving objectives. As I am discussing you all from the first chapter itself, the main purpose of each and every organization is to achieve the organizational goals. So through planning, it is a primary function and it is a first base for the organization. So it is mainly focuses on achieving the objectives. The main purpose of each and every organization, there will be some objective of each and every organization. To achieve that, planning is very much important. If they don't do planning properly, or if they do not do planning at all, so the organization cannot run smoothly. So likewise, the first foremost feature here is, it mainly focuses on achieving the objective. Okay, the second one here is, planning is a primary function of management. As I told you all, it is the first and the foremost function of management, that is the primary function of management. So this is the base for other functions. So primary is a primary function of management, planning. Okay, the next one is, planning is pervasive. As I am dealing you all this topic from the first chapter itself, pervasive, that is nothing but universal. So it is not only applicable for the manager, not only applicable for the employees, it is universal, it is applicable for all. For example, top level management undertakes planning of organization. Likewise, the top level management will mainly focuses on undertaking the planning of organization, whereas the middle level management does the departmental planning. Okay. Likewise, I taught you all in the chart of planning these were levels of management: top level, middle level and lower level. Likewise, the top level management mainly focuses on what? Understanding the planning of organization undertakes, whereas the middle level management does the departmental planning, whereas the lower level management will do the day-to-day activities, plans for the day-to-day activities with operation which has to be operational planning, which has to be done by the supervisors. So that is nothing but, it is not only applicable only for the manager, it is only applicable for each and everyone. So the next here is, it is continuous. As I told you all, planning is not continuous, it is not a one-time process. Once planning is done, as it executed, again the process continues. Likewise, in each and every organization, it depends. They plan for month or yearly, half yearly. Okay, so likewise it depends on the month which they plan. So it is a continuous process. So through planning, it is a continuous process where it does not stop, whereas it is a continuous process to achieve the organizational goals. So next one is, planning is futuristic. So planning is done for what should happen tomorrow, isn't it? What should happen tomorrow is nothing but the planning which we do for today. Likewise, it is mainly focused on the futuristic plans and ideas. So thinking about the futuristic plans, through the imagination they do the planning. Likewise, through imagination they do the planning for the futuristic activities which they have to do in the organization. So next one here is, involves decision making. As I discussed you all in the importance of planning itself, it mainly focuses on decision making, what decision they have to do, what are the policies, procedures, promotions, whatever they have to do will help the organization for the decision making for the betterment of the organization. So now last one is, planning is mental exercise. So planning is mainly focusing on intellectual property of a person. So it is mainly focused on the ideas and innovations which they do in the organization. Likewise, the manager plays a very important role here in planning process, whereas it is a mental exercise. So he is the person who does the innovative things, who plans for the innovative things through imagination and do the planning. So I hope you all got some idea about the features of planning. Again, I repeat, planning focuses on achieving objectives. Okay, the main purpose of each and every organization have some objective to achieve. So it mainly focuses on achieving the objectives in the organization. Next, it is a primary function. Yes, first and the foremost function of the management is planning. So it is a primary function and it is a base for the organization. And the third one is, it is pervasive. It is not, that means it is not only applicable for the manager, not only for the top level management, it is applicable for each and every management level. So next one is, planning is continuous. As it is not a one-go process, it is a continuous process where once after plan is done, once after it is scheduled, again the planning has to be done. So next is, it is futuristic. So it mainly focused on the futuristic plans and ideas which has to be executed. So next one here is, it involves decision making. So it mainly focuses on the decision making and ideas which they have to do in the organization. And the last one is mental exercise. Planning mainly focuses on the mental exercise, that is nothing but the innovation idea given by the employee management in the organization. So in today's class, we mainly discussed about the definition and meaning of planning, the importance of planning as well as the features of planning. So now I am going to give you all the assignment question for today's class. So the first question here is, what is planning? So this carries 2 marks question. Okay. The second question here is, explain the features of planning. So this question carries 4 marks. Okay. So the next question here is, explain the importance of planning. 4 marks. Okay. Features you all can explain any 4. Okay. Whereas the important also carries 4 marks. So have a good day. Thank you.